What is a gender role? A gender role is a role or behavior learned related to one's gender, influenced by cultural and social norms. Gender roles can be seen prominently in all of society. In recent trends like over-the-top gender reveals, where colors are automatically associated with the gender of the unborn baby, and expected roles of mothers and fathers, which are becoming more and more outdated, where the mother is expected to be a loving, nurturing, and self-sacrificing persona, while the father is the provider and the financial support of the family. In sports, equipment like a football helmet often immediately gives the image of a male, and equipment like pom-poms do the same but in favor of females in the minds of many. Even in jobs, gender roles are present. Some careers hold the face of a particular gender, such as a nurse, a doctor, an engineer, a politician, a construction worker, and a teacher. All are associated with a gender because of the reputation that each holds in society. Gender roles are learned since birth and we grow up with them. Though there are different ideas of gender roles in children and gender roles in adults, they are still ever so apparent throughout one's entire life.
Welcome, welcome. Here are your new company laptops. David, you can't wear that. It's a girl color. Oh, here. Pick that one or that one. Yeah. That's cute. See? Yeah. No. David can do that.
I've never done that before.
How's yours?
It's, manly.
No. I have something better.
Okay, so let's start looking over the presentation. If you guys wouldn't mind cleaning up when we're done, that'd be great.
Madeline, that's a little bossy.
If you guys could clean up after we're done, that would be great.
Good leadership, David.
Okay,
I think that'll be it.
that's all.
Boys will be boys.
My favorite color's blue.
I actually really like pink.
Oh my God, stop, wait. Oh, honey, no. You want something like this, baby. Let me grab that for you.
No, it's okay.
Are you...
Yeah, sure, it's good. Thanks.
Often, one will attempt to defy gender roles and stereotypes as a result of a social pressure to conform. Gender roles have been existent since the beginning of time. In the ages of the prehistoric people, the men were almost always the hunters and the women the gatherers. The genders and their assigned behaviors reflected thus on how they lived their lives. Gender roles are ever so apparent in monarchies throughout the eras. In monarchies such as the Aztec Empire, the sole purpose of a woman was marriage. From the minute of her birth, her ambition was to be married, only unless she was willing to devote her entire life to the temple. A man's sole purpose was to become a warrior and earn respect from the Aztec people. A man did not need to become a warrior. He could have any job he so desired, but a warrior in the Aztec Empire was exceptionally glorified. In cases like the British monarchy, there were rules in place so that the firstborn son would be the next heir to the throne, even if the firstborn was a daughter. Until very recently, this was the rule for the succession of the throne, and only in the last decade did they revoke this requirement. As seen, gender roles have been ever so present in society since the beginning of time, and since a grand majority of literature is influenced by the time in which it was written and the time in which it is set, gender roles are reflected distinctly in it. The novel, The Stonecarvers by Jane Urquhart, takes place in the early 1900s and follows 3 generations of a family and the effects of the First World War on them. In the day and age of the novel, the visible members of society were male. Society revolved around men, and women stayed home while the men went out and worked. The female figures were used solely for basic needs. In the novel, both the protagonist Clara and her brother Tillman defy the gender roles placed on them. In Tillman's case, his father talks to him about stability, and how stability is the essence of masculinity. His father asks him, "How will you look after yourself? How will you learn to be a man?" Yet, Tillman continues to wander as he did before. As for Clara, she was not supposed to learn how to carve, as it was not thought to be a feminine sport. But her grandfather had taught her how to whittle a small piece of wood, though it was really her brother Tillman that the old man had his eye on. Learning to carve eventually led Clara to be key in the carving of the Vimy Memorial. The play Macbeth, written by William Shakespeare, reflects gender roles and the defiance that accompanies them vividly. The play glorifies masculinity, while it in turn degrades femininity. This allows leverage for Lady Macbeth in convincing Macbeth to murder King Duncan. She is able to do this by attacking his masculinity and his weakness, which are supposedly feminine traits. Lady Macbeth also intends on ridding of her own femininity in order to murder Duncan.
Come, you spirits, that tend on mortal thoughts. Unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood. Stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose. Nor keep peace between the effect and it.
Once Macbeth has finally agreed to the plan to murder the king, in response to seeing this change in Lady Macbeth, he says,
Bring forth men, children only, for thy undaunted metal should compose nothing but males.
The novel Lord of the Flies by William Golding manages to portray gender roles in a tale of only boys stranded on an unknown island. Simon is a character indifferent to the power struggles between Jack and Ralph on almost an entirely different plane of his own. He doesn't particularly care about presenting himself as strong or prideful, character traits that are often associated with the male gender roles. He mostly lives on like only himself, always staying true to the Simon he has always known. In addition, these boys are living alone in the wild. They quickly change from the sophisticated, uptight, developed idea of schoolboys in Britain to savage and violent beings, reverting back to ways similar to primitive people. Both of their personalities are congruent with different ideas of the male gender roles, only one is more progressive than the other. Arthur Miller's play, The Crucible, shows women and girls experiencing a unique time where they possess power in a time where women were often left powerless with no freedom of their own. The witch trial gives them the power to condemn others to witchcraft, and for the first time, the women have even more leverage than male figures like Hale, Proctor, and Paris, who have no say in the accusations. As well, the girls are strong and powerful as a group, led by Abigail Williams, who incites fear to keep order. However, as soon as a male figure enters the picture, the group dynamic falters, so much so to encourage Mary Warren to speak out against the false accusations of the other girls.
Mary Warren, if you will permit me, Excellency. Mary, in the court you would faint when people accused of witchery sent their spirit out to choke you.
It were pretense, sir.
But your skin turned icy, pale.
They're all marvelous pretenders.
This shows how women in society, especially in the time of the Salem witch trials, are seen as inferior to men. Gender roles play part in very prominent issues of today. More often than not, people do not fall directly into the roles, which some closed-minded people might find unsettling. A current event that affects both gender roles and gender identity is the White House's recent ban on transgender people serving in the military. The Army is a particular aspect of society that is stereotypically thought to be filled by a male or masculine role. Because of this, transgender men might join the military to reinforce their masculinity and to counter society's unacceptance. Also, transgender women in the military are stripped not only of their femininity, but of their female identity in order to enforce the masculine stereotype associated with the Army. Though transgender people are now banned from military service, transgender people still attempt to join, and those who are especially patriotic might even revert back to the gender assigned to them at birth in order to serve for their country. For transgender women who use this approach to ensure that they can fight for the people of their country, they especially will be mislabeled and misgendered, even more so in a job that is seen as being an aspect of the male gender role. Gender roles have shaped the way society functions since the beginning of time. The term was coined by psychologist John Money, where he said that gender roles are all those things that a person says or does to disclose himself or herself as having the status of boy or man, girl or woman. What is thought to be the decider of gender are the stereotypes that surround it, that are developed throughout years of socialization. Societies revolve around the notion of two binary genders, where everyone and even sometimes objects are categorized, all thanks to hundreds and thousands of years worth of developments of gender roles. The poem Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou acknowledges her place in society as a Black woman. Originally published in 1995, the poem reflects on the idea that surrounds being a woman and the ideas that surround being a man. She discusses the difference between the genders and the behavior expected from the genders. She talks about the labels and expectations that are put on women, especially by society, including appearance on the outside and within. Overall, she validates women and conveys the message that society's image is not necessarily one's own truth.
Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou.
Pretty women wonder where my secret lies.
I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size.
But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies.
I say, it's in the reach of my arms,
the span of my hips,
the stride of my step,
the curl of my lips.
I am a woman, phenomenally.
Phenomenal woman, that's me.
I walk into a room just as cool as you please.
And to a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees.
Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees.
I say, it's in the fire of my eyes.
And the flash in my teeth.
The swing in my waist.
And the joy in my feet.
I'm a woman phenomenally.
Phenomenal woman, that's me.
Men themselves have wondered what they see in me.
They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery.
When I try to show them, they say they still can't see.
I say, it's in the arch of my back,
the sun of my smile,
the ride of my breasts,
the grace of my style.
I'm a woman, phenomenally.
Phenomenal woman, that's me.
Now you understand just why my head's not bowed.
I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud.
When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud.
I say, it's in the click of my heels,
the bend of my hair,
the palm of my hand,
the need for my care.
'Cause I'm a woman, phenomenally.
Phenomenal woman, that's me.